I did not find very much of this film funny at all.
Oh.
In fact, the only parts of this movie that I found remotely funny is because you've got comedians, is because you got quick-witted comedians such as Monique and Mike Epps.
Yes.
There are scenes where it is quite evident that they are improving and Michael D. Lee just let the camera go and just let them riff.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it's when scenes where the two of them are with each other.
Yeah.
That they're just riffing back and forth. You can literally see Monique trying to stifle laughing while she's delivering her lines.
YUNKJunk!
Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holler at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
And we close out the first month of 2024 with a film written and directed by Malcolm Lee. A star-studded affair with Michael Clark Duncan, Mike Epps, Monique, James Earl Jones, Margaret Avery, and headlined by one Martin Lawrence. We will spend tonight talking about Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins from 2008. But before we get into all of that, Len, how you doing?
I am doing truly wonderful. Vincent, how about yourself?
Also well. Good to hear. Good to hear.
And it stands to reason that we will be feeling this way, ladies and gentlemen, because we are coming off of a sold out appearance at the lounge at World Cafe Live this past Saturday.
Yes,
where we
sir.
screened the movie Love Jones to a room packed full of family and missionaries. It was such a great time. Dylan was in the building. He was in the building, and it was really, really a fun time. And shout out to all of you that made it out to World Cafe Live and made it a very special event.
And all of you who wanted to be there and couldn't make it, you were in our thoughts, and certainly in the spirit in the room. It was a great time.
Oh yeah,
it was a fantastic time. I think I was a little surprised, but not that surprised. Before we started, we asked the crowd how many people have never seen Love Jones on the big screen. And a fair number of hands went up, and it really is a different experience.
Yeah,
on a big screen. So that was fantastic. And I love how communal it was.
I was going to say it's also just a totally different communal experience.
Yes,
you know, one, just watching it on the big screen, but two, in the lounge at World Cafe Live, because people are in there. You're drinking, you're eating dinner, you're conversing with one another. Everybody, and you're not, because it is such a beloved film. Even if you've never seen it, you're already coming in there with good intentions. Like you're coming expecting you're going to like this.
Right. And the thing about a well-made film is the director and writer Theodore Witcher had beats.
Yes.
That hit a certain way. And it's always fantastic to be part of a group when those beats hit.
Yeah.
Funny beats, dramatic beats,
and you could feel it in the room.
Romantic beat,
with how everybody is like, right there with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes a film, any great film, which I believe Love Jones qualifies as.
Absolutely.
Something that is universal and transcends time.
Sure. Sure. And it's a real argument for a theater experience. I think there's so much conversation in the business and in the culture about the viability of theaters, because we all stream and we all have pretty sophisticated home video systems and back to people haven't seen it on the big screen. Frankly, I think there is at least one generation that has gotten used to watching films and watching media on their computers, on their tablets, hell, on their phones.
I'm about to say on their phones.
That it really is always not, for people like us who love theaters and love the movies to be involved in something, in an event. That again, this is an argument for the theater experience.
Most definitely.
So I know the one thing that you and I have talked about, and certainly we'll talk about an event we're having now that this one has passed, is that in 2024 we are actually doing a fair number of screenings. So if you weren't able to join us for this, you will have more opportunities.
Such as, Dylan, if you will look there, there's actually, we have a promotion for our next screening, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming up in March 20th for Women's History Month, as we kick off the Be Real Micheaux screening series in partnership with the Be Real Black Cinema Club with our good friend Stephanie Watts.
What's up, Stephanie?
We are going to be kicking off that series at the Bryn Mawr Film Institute, which is an exquisite, beautiful
theater,
like first run theater in beautiful Bryn Mawr, PA, just outside of Philadelphia. And this is going to be the first of 4 screenings that are going to be happening all month long and all year long. All year long. This one kicking off March 20th for Women's History Month. And you have your opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. If you go to the Micheaux Mission on Instagram, and I put a poll up on Twitter as well, you can vote for the film that we are going to be screening on March 20th. It's either going to be How Stella Got Her Groove Back from 1998 or Pariah from 2011 from writer-director D. Rez.
Yeah.
And just to give a little peek, we asked at the end of our screening on Saturday, we asked the audience, we showed them the films, trailers for both films, and asked them to select which film that they wanted to see. And so far in the lead is Pariah.
That's right. So if you all want Stella to get her groove back on the big screen, get involved. Go to
the Micheaux Mission on Instagram or Twitter. Look for the poll and make your vote count. If you can't find it there, go to brynmarfilminstitute.org. And you can also vote there, right there in their event page.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So, boy, we've got a big show for you this season.
Big show.
And I got an email that I'm not going to read.
Okay.
But the email basically was like, hey, y'all not reading all the emails? So it literally was the email. So
we're not reading all the emails out loud.
Right.
Lynn and I read all the emails.
Yes.
Right.
We can't read them all out loud. But in deference to you, we're going to go through a bunch of emails that we've got.
I love that.
Or, as we like to call them,
missives from the missionaries. So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Missives from the missionaries.
Hey, before we get to our emails, I would be remiss if I didn't give a hello and shout out to each and every one of you that are watching us as we are streaming live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. And shout out to each and every one of you out there in the chat on Facebook and in YouTube. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
All right.
Okay.
Turning to the emails.
Turning to the email.
We have an email from Monique Younger.
Hey, what's up, Monique?
Talking up a blues streak.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm a big fan of the show. I've been listening for 2, maybe 3 years now.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm always sharing episodes with my friends and talking about your takes on movies, so it pains me that the first time I'm emailing you all is for something that I just did not like.
Oh, no. What did we do, Monique?
She goes on to tell us.
Okay.
I was listening to y'all talking about the Emmys while driving into Atlanta, navigating the morning traffic.
Oh, that's right.
Now, as you know, due to the strikes, the Emmys were delayed. Henceforth, when Ayo Edebiri won, it was for her performance in season 1.
Yeah.
I'm an Academy member. I voted. I know.
Oh, excuse me, Monique.
Excuse me.
Hey, girl, do your thing.
And I agreed. The Bear is not a laugh-a-minute romp fest, but it is a half-hour format dark comedy.
Okay.
My problem, however, is that you went on to describe events that happened in season 2.
Yes.
Which I am currently in the middle of watching. A spoiler alert would have been nice of you. I mean, this is not like a movie that aired 40 years ago. This is a series that's still on streaming and that maybe life prevented me from seeing all the time that it was released. But it hasn't been on Hulu that long. Yeah. I was driving and listening, and then when you got to Carmi's breakdown in the freezer, and I was like, what? And then the next thing I knew, Marcus missed the call about his mother. I couldn't get to the phone fast enough to turn the show off. But if I did, I might have thrown it out the window. Oh, my God. I hope the next time that I write in, it will be because of something I love, because I do love the show, but that really, really hurt my heart. Spoiled in Atlanta, Monique Younger.
Yeah, that's my fault. That was me. I'm sorry, Monique. Like all jokes aside, I apologize, because she's right. Mm-hmm. The Bear has not been on that. Like it's one thing we spoil, you know, Star Wars from 1977 or you know something. But that's right. I'm sorry, Monique. I don't even have anything. No. You're pointing, but like on the podcast, they can't see you point. Let me say out loud, that was Vince.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my fault. I take that and I apologize, and I will try to do better.
Next,
and please, hopefully we can recover from this, Monique.
Next email.
Okay.
From Monique Younger.
Oh, okay.
I found my tribe.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's Monique again. I'm back, not salty anymore.
Oh, I'm glad.
I just have to say
that was a real tough.
I know
8 seconds because I was you know that was gonna bother me. Yeah. You know that was gonna bother.
If we didn't have this follow-up email at the end of this show,
you know that was gonna bother me.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Damn,
I feel bad.
See, I get to run in my mouth.
You'd have took 10 degrees on Dervell Martin. You'd have been jacked for the rest of the show.
All right. Woo. It's kind of like when you show, speaking of Star Wars, you show kids Empire Strikes Back now. And then at the end, spoiler for people who've been under a rock for 40 years. When Darth Vader tells Luke, I'm your father, like I'm Anakin Skywalker. And like, have you ever seen those videos on YouTube where people show their kids?
Oh, yeah.
And you see their kids reacting in real time, but then immediately you put on Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So that they don't really, like, they don't know what it was like for us.
You had to wait for years.
Well, they didn't know until the cliffhanger, and I'll just say the cliffhanger because people maybe haven't seen it. The cliffhanger of Across the Spideyverse.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I've said to like 4 or 5 different millennials, now you know how we felt.
Yep. And I remember, I've mentioned it on the show, I was in a theater of millennials watching it, and it was the second time I had seen it. So I knew. And I just like, you just kind of like sit and just wait for the reaction. And you heard everybody like, what? No.
We have to wait 2 years?
Bravo!
Whew, but I'm glad it wasn't that. But please continue with Monique, who's back with her tribe.
She's back with her tribe.
All right.
I just have to say, y'all are my folk. Upon reaching the end of the Blue Streak episode, when Vincent said he never liked Martin, I could not agree more. That wasn't you.
No, that was me.
Was it you?
Yeah, because remember, I don't even.
Oh,
like,
that's right. That's
I
right.
don't even like the first season.
I mess with Martin Lawrence in the buddy movies, Love, Bad Boys, and the ensemble movies, Life, Death of the Funeral, Roscoe Jenkins. But I draw the line at the TV show. I couldn't hate Shanae more. I probably only liked Tommy, Gina, and Brother Man from the Fourth Floor. They had some decent guest stars, David Allen Greer, Garrett Morris, etc. And this coming from somebody who was present during the taping of Run Tell That. I enjoyed his stand-up back in the day, but the mugging for the camera just tends to be way too far over the top for me. Thanks for watching some of these stinkers so we don't have to. Monique.
Well, thank you, Monique, and you have indeed found your people.
Yes, we are here for you. All right, continuing on.
Okay.
We rifle through the emails and make people happy. We are knocking them out.
Make me happy.
That's true.
Nice talking to the people.
You do like talking to the people.
Do.
You do. I do. What with that?
What we got?
All right. We have an email from. Here we go. This one is from. Wow. Where did it all go? Oh, Michael Lockett.
What's up, Michael?
Back at you with Eddie and Martin.
Okay.
Mike Lockett is back at you. I was racking my head on how to catch up. Came to the mini light bulb moment. I don't have to. I don't have to listen in order. The podcast does have a story arc. Your styles have grown and changed, but I don't need to experience them in order. So now I'm listening to the current while creeping from the past simultaneously, which brings me to my first twofer.
Okay.
48 Hours.
Okay.
I could not agree more that this is not a buddy cop movie, but rather a reluctant friendship movie. I see it more as a better version of the idea behind the Defiant Ones. Also, knowing that this was Eddie's first movie is mind-blowing. Many people have recently seemed to downplay his presence and career based on the hiatus and some bad projects, such as Candy Cane Lane, but the dude was a talent monster. Comedy, acting, and looks were the man for a period. Blue Streak. First off, I love that the planets aligned and I listened to an Eddie film and followed it with a Martin Lawrence film. Maybe it's me, but there are so many things that Martin Lawrence and frankly other Black comics post the age of Eddie do that all I see comes from Eddie Murphy in with their acting. I agree that this film is one of the best Martin Lawrence outings, but it has a low filmography bar. The few bright spots happen in spite of the script, directing, and casting as a whole. Quick question. Do you think this film is what basically made the industry regular Martin to relegate Martin to TV and the Bad Boy franchise? All the best, Mike.
I get this sense.
Well, Blue Streak.
Because that's, what's that,
Blue Streak
1999?
Yeah, it comes after.
Because it's after
the show.
Yeah. Remember, Martin had a series
and after Bad Boys.
of public challenges.
He did.
You know, he had a health scare and everything. You know, I always got the sense that Martin Lawrence took a step back himself to a certain degree.
To kind of like reset a little bit.
Yeah, kind of reset.
Yeah.
Or at least I hoped he did. Like, I always hope.
That's the hope.
Like, to be clear, I'm not a fan of Martin, the television show, nor am I necessarily a fan of most Martin Lawrence films, but I am a fan of Martin Lawrence. Like, I like the man. So I always kind of hoped that would, like the past 10, 15 years, he decided to take a step back.
I was thinking about this.
Because he did I think he had just getting ready for tonight. Right. Remember he had like a heat stroke and then, he had that kind of really public breakdown. And so, I was hoping the brother just sort of went and sat down.
I mean, he probably, I actually think he did. Because he kind of like retreated a little bit.
Yeah.
We got an email from Calvin Austin II. What's up, Cal?
Hey, what's up, Calvin?
Saw you on Saturday.
Yeah.
Hey, Len and Vince, as I was binge listening to the show, trying to get caught up, this particular binge session ranged from episodes in the late October to early December. There are a few things I wanted to comment on. I thoroughly enjoyed the Deliver Us from Eva episode.
Yeah.
Len, I agree with Vince and Lavetta. It's time to let the Last Dragon hate go.
It's so ugly.
Calvin continues. I also enjoyed your review of O. I remember being fascinated by the concept when it was being released, but had forgotten about it being done. So in the in the context of Columbine.
Yeah.
I, like you, was caught a bit off guard by how quickly and drastically it turned. My binge session also prompted two questions. First, in light of Vincent's opinion about needing more from Kevin Hart,
yes,
I was wondering what you thought of his performance in his recent movie Lift on Netflix.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you probably haven't seen it. Secondly, the question about deleting movies from certain stars' filmographies, Vincent's willingness to chuck The Golden Child on the trash heap notwithstanding, led to a discussion around this question. Is there a Black film that is universally panned by our community? My contention is that every Black film has that one pocket of folks that cape for it. I love the show as always and look forward to your responses. Calvin, P.S. Is there a difference between a film and a movie, or are they interchangeable? They're interchangeable.
I've yet to meet anyone who champions Soul Plane.
Yeah, see, Calvin actually asked me this individually one day when we was hanging out, and I said Soul Plane.
Yeah.
But he said he knows at least a couple of people who absolutely love that film.
Okay. I've never met him. I've never read anything about anyone sort of reclaiming Soul Plane, but Soul Plane would be my pick.
I think that's my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our go-to.
Right.
Album. And the people that you know that like it, tell them to see us.
Right.
All right.
That crack kills.
Okay, tell them that. We got another email, Vincent. This is from Courtney.
Hey, what's up, Courtney?
Hello, Len and Vincent. This week, I got the chance to see American Fiction starring Jeffrey Wright.
Oh, that's a good time.
Since the movie's release, there has been a discourse on how American Fiction took from its predecessor, Hollywood Shuffle by Robert Townsend and Bamboozled by Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a question for the both of you to discuss. Do you think Hollywood Shuffle by Robert Townsend stands toe-to-toe with Bamboozled by Spike Lee in terms of legacy and impact? The movie Hollywood Shuffle has been taught in film school about the white gaze in Hollywood as a Black actor. Bamboozled has stood the test of time as well, and people will always give Spike Lee his credit. Would love to hear your thoughts.
What do you think?
I think Hollywood Shuffle is deemed the more influential, more important moment in time. It's not that Bamboozled doesn't have his fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that Bamboozled doesn't play in the same playground as Hollywood Shuffle. I just think because of, with all due respect to Robert Townsend, because Spike Lee's filmography is so stacked, like you always talk about, like those first 5 movies, the golden era of Spike Lee, because it is so stacked. Bamboozled, and because Bamboozled does have like a different look to it as opposed to all of his other films, it gets lessened just because it's not in that first group, and thus it is not as considered.
I agree with you, and I'll go even further. I think Spike Lee is a better director than Robert Townsend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on a technical level, Bamboozle is a better directed film.
Yes.
Than Hollywood Shuffle, and arguably a better acted film.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think Hollywood Shuffle is a better film than Bamboozle.
Well, then what do you mean by that then?
I think as a whole experience,
mm-hmm.
with a beginning, a middle, and an end,
mm-hmm.
I think Robert Townsend's control of tone throughout the film, where I think the way he oscillates between farce and satire
mm-hmm.
is frankly stronger than Bamboozled. Like, I think in a lot of ways, satire needs a subtle hand.
It does. Yes.
Spike Lee has never been subtle. And I think the satire in Bamboozled is so overwhelming
mm-hmm.
that it gets to the point where it's not even satire anymore. Quite honestly, I think once you get past that initial moment when Savion Glover and Tommy Davidson put on blackface,
mm-hmm.
it's not even satire anymore.
Yeah.
It's just commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very strong and it's very well done. But because Michael Rappaport and Damon Wayans are still in a satire, tonally
it doesn't marry. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't really marry. So that as someone who loves both films, I always go back to Hollywood Shuffle. And again, I think the satire is so sharp
mm-hmm.
in Hollywood Shuffle, which when you think about the fact that so much of it is in vignettes, like you think about Black Acting School, you think about the Homeboys
shop,
the Homeboys movie review,
right? Yeah,
you think about that. Speaking of Eddie Murphy, that amazing moment where Bobby's character talks about everyone is looking for an Eddie Murphy type, and you have that wonderful kind of pan where everyone is sitting there doing an Eddie Murphy impersonation. I'm always going to champion Hollywood Shuffle.
Yeah,
I say at least once every 3-4 months when some black person does some ignorant Sambo shit, and you can tell they just shuffling for in Bojangling for the dollar. I say immediately there's work at the post office. Like, you don't have to do this. There's work at the post office.
Got an email from Nicole.
Hey, what's up, Nicole?
Hi, Len and Vince. I recently listened to your Losing Ground review and came across the part where you guys read from an article which black movies should be added to the Criterion Collection.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Vincent about Just Another Girl from the IRT, a film that deserves more praise. But here are my suggestions, and you can converse about it. So Nicole's suggestions for the Criterion Collection would be Juice.
Yeah.
Boomerang.
Yeah.
Waiting to Exhale.
Yeah.
Definitely The Five Heartbeats.
Yeah.
Baps. Black Dynamite. If Beale Street Could Talk.
Oh my goodness.
And even though I have qualms about the movie, Spike Lee's directorial debut, She's Gotta Have It.
That's not a bad list.
Not a bad list, but the one that does make you like, is Baps.
Is Baps?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the right package.
Well, any film with the right package, not any film, but a whole lot of films with the right packaging could make it.
Yeah, but let's be clear. If you ask me, half of the films in the Criterion Collection are there because of the package.
Well,
Like you get three dudes with PhDs who talk about.
But wait a minute, aren't they selected for the Criterion Collection and then the package is put together? They're not put together first.
I mean, look, I don't know how they pick them. I'll say this. Off the top of my head, I can think of 5 movies that have Criterion Collection editions that BAPS is better than. I'm not going to say them out loud, but just again, like immediately I can think of 5 films that have Criterion Collection editions that BAPS is better than.
Why don't you want to say what they are?
I mean, because I'm not trying to.
Okay. All right.
But I think I would love to hear Robert Townsend and Halle Berry talk about BAPS. Like sit at a table and talk about BAPS. I mean, it's a little on the nose, but I would love to hear some Black actresses talk about the representation in BAPS.
Don't get me wrong. I could definitely see
You'd have to package it.
I could, yes.
But
you'd have to sell it.
Yeah, but again,
I love BAPS. I don't know if I put in the Criterion Collection.
But again, I think this is more of a reflection of how I feel about these film packages in general. Though, like I said, it's like half of these movies they got to have a package.
So
I mean, arguably, that's sort of at the base of a lot of these films, whether we're talking about on TCM, whether we're talking about the Criterion Channel, whether we're talking about on with the Criterion Channel, where you have people who sponsor these films and say, this is a film that I think people should watch. Is that not true? Mm-hmm. This is a film that I think people should watch.
Yes.
I'm going to make the case for the film, and now here it is. So how's that any different than what we're saying for BAPS?
No, I mean, there isn't. It's just, I just don't know if I would just put BAPS there. I would, if I heard that BAPS was going to the Criterion Collection, I would not. I would say, good on them. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I would select it. We screened a film that's in the Criterion Collection, Love Jones, this past weekend. I have a huge soft spot for Pariah. I believe that it's Criterion Collection worthy.
Yeah.
And I'll say Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see them both in the Criterion Collection.
Look, man.
And they would be hella packages.
If they stick the landing on this third Spider-Verse, they're going to be packaging this thing for the next 100 years.
No.
So,
got an email from Ellis Heron.
What's up, Ellis?
Hey, fellas, I have to admit, I didn't expect your reviews of these Eddie Murphy films to pique my interest. I remember checking out Bowfinger as a screener when it first got to video. I just looked at it as an excuse for 2 comedy legends to get together and cash the check. Mm-hmm. So I didn't give the movie a fair chance, but thanks to your review, I believe it deserves a second look.
Well, good.
Also, you now got me curious about Meet Dave.
Dude, I'm telling you.
You're right that the cool thing to do was to trash the movie, but I need to see the movie before I do so. Mm-hmm. For what you said about it, I need to go into that movie with an open mind. Lastly, congrats on being ranked 158 out of over 100,000 TV and film podcasts. You two definitely deserve it with all the hard work and passion that you put into this. Your friend Alice Heron from Fort Worth. P.S. Did you know about Angela Bassett's honorary Oscar win? It was amazing and well-deserved. Even though her acceptance speech was 15 minutes, it was nothing short of powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm happy for her, though. Though, it shouldn't be honorary.
No, it should not.
But Always happy for Angela Bassett.
And our last email.
Thank you, Ellis.
From Michael Lockett again.
Hey, Michael.
How do you like that nouveau Abbott and Costello title that he has come up with? Blackula meets Dave. The mission entries in 2024 have been great and diverse. As I play in the multiverses of the present and 2018, I keep getting reminded of the richness of Black cinema. We always can make a way out of no way.
Oh, that's right.
Listening first to the episode of Blackula and then Meet Dave, I couldn't help but notice how both William Marshall and Eddie Murphy's physical presence and performance were what both films from start to finish hung their hats on.
I love him bouncing around.
Marshall has gravitas and style as well as a healthy dose of I'm a big bleeping brother, so don't bleep with me presence every time he enters a scene. Eddie Murphy seems to return to his palatable magnetism from early projects and SNL, more physical nuances, etc., that hold the film together. I think the production value on both was lacking, at least in the case of Meet Dave. I am not sold that it is a Black film. Could the project be done by replacing Eddie Murphy with, say, Will Ferrell, for instance, or Kamal Nanjiani? I think it could. Keep marching, Michael. Well, to be fair, yeah, you could easily put Will Ferrell in the Eddie Murphy role, and then it wouldn't be a Black film.
No.
But Eddie Murphy's in it.
So, right.
And it's the lead.
Yeah.
It's a Black film.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we've talked about.
And his love interest is Black.
Right. And we've talked about with people like Eddie Murphy or Denzel Washington or Will Smith. Like there are some Black actors that have reached such a height that they're iconic. So that there's a different, I think a better parallel would be one that we made on the episode. Like I would love to be in the parallel universe where we compared him to this with Bowfinger, but like Tom Cruise probably would have been interesting in this role.
Okay, yeah, Tom Cruise, yeah.
I feel like there's a great comedy that Tom Cruise has not made.
Great comedy.
I think.
Well, to be fair, he is in a considered relatively great comedy.
What are you doing? Tropic Thunder?
No.
What?
Risky Business.
Yeah. But is he funny? I wouldn't say he's funny in Risky Business.
But he's not funny.
Yeah, he's also really young.
Okay, well, he can't help his age, but considering his youth, and the age of that film, it's a film that, for the most part, does still hold up. I watched it again maybe a few years ago.
Yeah.
So and he's funny enough.
Yeah, he's just so kind of kinetic, and like I feel like there's a screwball comedy floating out there.
See, I don't see. Well, I guess maybe I don't know. He seems very tied into his image. Yeah, because even when you bring up Tropic Thunder,
I know,
he's hiding under a ton of prosthetics.
Yeah,
and yet his image is still, it's over the top. It's very, misogynistic and just crazy.
Sure.
So I don't know. Screwball comedy, you got to be a little bit more self-deprecating.
I know,
and
I know.
I don't think that's in the Tom Cruise wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it ain't got to be.
Look.
Because whatever he's doing is working.
Yes.
All right.
So, but thank you, Michael.
And thank you, all of you, for those emails, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
We don't go through all of them, so we've got more, but we try to
enjoy the feedback.
If you want to let us know what is on your mind, ladies and gentlemen, and see if your email makes the cut to be read here aloud and answered on the Micheaux Mission, email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION.
All right.
And I'm seeing in the chat that Lisa Alexander is saying Criterion released Pariah a few years ago.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent.
Now, let's move on to the top 5.
Top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is.
Top 5.
My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I give Vincent a list and he gives us his thoughts about it. Tonight's top 5, keeping in theme as we are reviewing Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins.
Okay.
This is the top 5 Roscoes.
People, places, things, or are these all people? It's got 5 Roscoes.
5 Roscoes.
5 Roscoes. All right.
5 Roscoe.
Who's Roscoe number 5?
Roscoe number 5 is Roscoe Conklin Bourne.
Okay. I have no idea who that is.
He was born in 1950, he passed away fairly recently, March 3rd of 2020.
Okay. Rest in peace, I guess.
Roscoe
I mean, unless
Conklin
he's terrible. I don't know
Bourne
anything about him.
was in fact a songwriter
Okay.
and an American actor
Okay.
who is best known
Mm-hmm.
for the role of the arch villain Mitch Lawrence
Mm-hmm.
that he played from 1985 to 2012 on One Life to Live.
Okay.
Roscoe Conklin Bourne
Well, his name was indeed Roscoe.
was a white man,
Okay.
which is unheard of for me.
A white man named Roscoe.
I did not ever know of a white man named Roscoe.
I don't know if a white man has been named Roscoe
We
fairly
know-
recently.
Well, we know that one was named Roscoe back in 1950.
Well, okay.
It was Roscoe Conklin Bourne.
Okay. All right.
Number 4.
Hey, I thought the voice was just for 5. I thought now that we were on 4. Still the voice? You gonna commit to that?
The 4th Conklin.
All right, we're gonna commit to the voice.
The 4th Roscoe.
Okay, and that is
Roscoe Robinson Jr.
Roscoe
Oh,
Robinson
that's
Jr.
a brother.
That sounds pretty black.
That's a brother.
People probably didn't answer when he applied for jobs.
Mm-mm.
Threw his resume in the trash.
Well, hold your tongue on that one.
Okay.
Roscoe Robinson Jr., who dearly departed in 1993,
Okay.
was in fact the first African American to become a 4-star general in the United States Army.
Okay.
He served as the United States representative to NATO. He previously served as commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division and then of the United States Army in Japan. After graduating from West Point, he would serve in the Korean War in 1952 as a platoon leader and the Rifle Company commander, where he received the Bronze Star. He was then sent back to the United States, where he became an instructor at the Airborne Department. In 1967, he served as commander of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry, 1st Cavalry Division in Vietnam, where he received the Legion of Merit, the Distinguished Flying Cross, 11 Air Medals, and 2 Silver Stars.
All right. Now he was black?
Roscoe Robinson Jr. was black.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right.
And he was the 4th Roscoe.
4th Roscoe. All right.
We are now at the 3rd.
The 3rd Roscoe.
The 3rd Roscoe.
Is this a new voice?
This Roscoe you may have heard of.
Okay. I only know one, so hopefully this is the one I know.
Oh, this is, in fact, this is not the one you know.
Okay, what Roscoe is this?
This would be Roscoe Micheaux, who was
Okay.
born in 1940,
All right.
and it is an accomplished American composer and jazz instrumentalist of the saxophone, as well as an educator, being known for and I quote, a technically superb, if idiosyncratic, saxophonist.
Wait, is this Blue Mitchell?
This would be Blue Micheaux.
Oh, I didn't know
whose
Blue
first
Mitchell
name
is Roscoe. I did not know that.
You did not know his first
I
name
know
was
him
Roscoe.
as Blue Mitchell.
Well, his mama called him Roscoe.
I've learned something new this evening.
Critic John Perales of the New York Times has mentioned that Mitchell qualifies as an iconoclast.
Okay, because
Does not say. But he qualifies.
yeah, Blue Mitchell. What's my Blue Mitchell album? Because it's a joint I go to by Blue Mitchell. He's a bad man. What's my Blue Mitchell?
What is your Blue Mitchell?
Mitchell.
What is on your playlist?
Pretty sure. Is it Down With It? Yeah, Down With It. Down With It is a good album. Down With It from 1965. It's on Blue Note. Who else is on that? I feel like it's some other people. Yeah, Chick Corea's on piano. Al Foster's on drums. Yeah, that's a good album.
Well, this means that, Vincent,
I know two Roscoes.
you know two Roscoes.
I learned at this exact second that his first name. Okay, now mine says his name is Richard Allen Blue Mitchell.
What year does it say he was born?
1930.
That would not be Roscoe Mitchell.
Okay, well, are you sure this is Blue Mitchell?
This just says Roscoe Mitchell. Not Blue Mitchell.
Why did you say it was Blue Mitchell?
Oh, it was Blue Mitchell.
Oh, for Christ's sake! All right,
But it's
go
not
ahead.
Blue Mitchell.
All right, well, I'm back to I don't know this Roscoe then. All right,
You don't know this
I
Roscoe.
don't know this. So who's next?
But this Roscoe.
This is a Roscoe I know.
He was black.
Okay,
The second Roscoe.
second Roscoe.
Also, not famously known as Roscoe.
Okay, who is this?
This would be Roscoe Conkling Arbuckle, or better known as Fatty Arbuckle.
Oh, Fatty Arbuckle.
Fatty Arbuckle, who was born in 1887,
Keep them young girls away from him.
died in 1933.
Mm-hmm.
He was at one time the most popular silent movie star
Yeah,
of the early 1900s and one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, signing a contract in 1920 with Paramount Pictures for $1 million a year, which is equivalent to $14.6 million in 2022.
Yeah, and what happened with him?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
tragedy struck on Labor Day of September 5th, 1921.
Yes, it did.
With the arrest and the trial of Roscoe Arbuckle on manslaughter charges.
That's right.
Roscoe and his friends Lowell Sherman and Fred Fishback drove to San Francisco, where they checked into the St. Francis Hotel to throw a party, which was crashed by a starlet named Virginia Rapp.
Who was how old?
Well, there's actually like some.
Oh shit! You know Lynn's serious now. You know Lynn's in his bag. He came. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all see how Lynn came out his funny voice? It was Lynn said, "We're talking old timey movie stuff. I got to be Lynn for this." I'm glad everybody heard it in real time. Oh yeah, Lynn gets real. Oh yeah, old timey movie stuff. Go ahead, Lynn. Educate us.
There's pushback on whether or not she was in fact underage.
Okay. Because?
Well, just because, like, they don't know the ID. Let me continue reading the story. Virginia Rapp crashed the party, then fell seriously ill and died 3 days later from a ruptured bladder. She had accused Fatty Arbuckle of raping her prior to passing away, but she had a history of accusing men of rape. The newspapers, led by William Randolph Hearst, used this incident to generate Hollywood's first major scandal.
I was just about to ask you that. Yeah.
Fatty Arbuckle was tried not once, not twice, but 3 times for the same criminal charges. The trials began in November of 1921, lasted until April of 1922. The first two ended with hung juries. A mistrial decision in the second was reached on February 22, the day after Arbuckle's friend and fellow Paramount director William Desmond Taylor was found murdered, and Arnold was visually affected by the news. At his third and final trial, the jury not only returned a not guilty verdict, but excoriated the prosecution for pursuing a flimsy case with no evidence of Arbuckle having committed any crime. It was at this final trial that the jury went further, writing a personal letter of sympathy and apology to Arbuckle for putting him through this ordeal. However, by then, his career was done.
Yeah.
And this did nothing to resuscitate his career.
Yeah.
And though he kept their letters as treasured mementos for the rest of his life, his career never resuscitated.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. First Hollywood scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a big one. They've tried different times to like do a movie about it. And the one movie that most people remember stars James Coco as Fatty Arbuckle. It's not good.
Oh, I'm thinking about Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about something completely different.
It's something completely different.
Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John.
Totally different. Number one. This is the Roscoe that Vincent knows.
Hey, it's only one Roscoe, quiet as it's kept.
Born in 1922. Passed away 2007.
Yeah.
Roscoe Lee Brown.
The great Roscoe Lee Brown.
American actor and director who resisted playing stereotypical black roles, instead performing in several productions with the New York City's Shakespeare Festival Theater. Leland Hayward's satirical NBC series, That Was the Week That Was, and a poetry performance tour of the United States, in addition to his work in television and film. In 1976, he was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Single Performance by a Supporting Actor in a Comedy or Drama Series for his work on ABC's Barney Miller. And I remember that episode because he plays a super thief who gets locked up and just befriends everybody in there and then escapes at the end. Excellent episode. In 1986, he won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Performer in a Comedy Series for his work on The Cosby Show.
Yeah.
In 1992, he received a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actor in a Play for his performance as Holloway in August Wilson's 2 Trains Running. And in 1975, he received a Daytime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Performer in an Animated Program for his performance as the Kingpin in Spider-Man. I didn't even know he voiced Kingpin in the Spider-Man. He was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame in 1977 and posthumously inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame in 2008. His notable films, Uptight from 1968.
Yeah, he's very good and Uptight.
Fantastic film.
Come on, you know you got
The Liberation of L.B. Jones.
Yeah, solid. We enjoyed that a bit, I think.
Yes, we did.
Come on, bring it.
And of course, from 1974.
There it is.
Congressman Lincoln.
There it is.
In Uptown Saturday Night.
Brothers. My people. That's right, because he was married to Leggy Peggy. Come to find out, he was the one that told her about Madame Zenobius. Because she said they was going to these parties, and she said, Lincoln, I won't be around my people. Come to find out, he a charter member. Then Leggy Peggy was sitting up on the desk, and Paula Kelly threw that leg up on the desk, and all that thigh was out, and threw that leg up, and then Roscoe Lee Brown reached his arm over and put her leg down. because Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby were looking, and it's such a beautiful, understated, comedic moment.
It is. It is.
Yeah, Roscoe Lee Brown, man.
In one of our favorite movies.
Absolutely.
All time.
Of
and
all time.
the very first movie that we reviewed.
The very first movie
Here on
we
the
reviewed, Uptown Saturday Night.
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Never can get enough of him.
No. Also in a great episode of Sanford and Son. He plays one of Donna's patients.
But
he's very healthy.
He's very healthy, yes. And then he does because he
does a bunch of push-ups.
Gets into the contest with Fred, and they lifting up the chair.
Yeah, I was gonna say he smokes. He lights a cigarette and lifts up the chair, and then he starts doing some karate. And Fred says, "This nigga's crazy." Yeah, oh yeah.
I always remember that because he's lifting up the chair and he's
right, because he lifts up the chair. And then he takes out a cigarette with one hand and lights it. It's like, this is a very specific feat of strength. I remember this in the Olympics.
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
The point is, everyone should watch Sanford and Son.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But that's certainly the number one Roscoe.
That is the number one Roscoe.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for, as somebody at the screening reminded us,
yes,
the Game of Kings.
The Game of Kings.
6 Degrees of Darville Martin.
I'm pretty sure they played on the pilot of Game of Thrones, but it didn't make it to the episode that was on HBO.
No.
If you look at the pilot.
If you look at the pilot.
They actually play.
I think it's on like the DVD.
Yeah, the DVD is extra.
After the first season plays, just let it keep playing.
Right.
Leave the DVD player in there.
Right.
By the time you return to it the next day, the pilot will be coming.
Yeah.
All right. Now, 6 Degrees of Darville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where I give Vincent 2 actors and he has 6 films or less to connect them to Darville Martin.
Okay.
Superstar of the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent, do you want to redeem yourself? Because the viewers do not realize you were a bit stumped at the screening.
I wasn't stumped. How am I stumped by Tupac? Like, I was trying to bounce around.
You were trying to be a little bit too cute.
Right. But clearly you can get to Tupac pretty fast.
No, clearly you get there, but you didn't really. You needed a little bit of help. More than a little bit of help.
Because I was trying to be cute.
You can't be cute, man.
Right.
Not at the live show.
Right. Well, what do we have? I mean, it's not like it was Fatty Arbuckle. Oh, you can't get to Fatty. I mean, it's Tupac. Of course I can get to Tupac. Go ahead. What we got?
Keeping in theme.
Okay. Oh, my God. Is it more Roscoe's?
There are no more Roscoe's.
Okay. Good Lord. How many Roscoe's are there? Is it going to be a Jenkins?
It would be funny, though, if I said keep it in theme and it was 2 Roscoe's, not Roscoe Lee Brown. Like, what other Roscoe actor?
Right.
Because if you linked him to Fatty Arbuckle, you are definitely the king of this, bro. But no.
I would need your help, but I bet we could.
I don't think so. Keeping in theme.
Okay.
We are going to be reviewing Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
Yes.
Which stars, among others, Martin Lawrence.
Yes.
So here are 2 other Martins.
Oh, okay. What we got?
Number one. In 6 films or less, connect Darville Martin to Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen.
More commonly known as President Bartlett from the West Wing TV series.
Sure.
Unless you can't use.
Martin Sheen. I want to get to Martin
Sheen. See, here you can be cute.
Right here it can be cute. Which think this will be. Because Dead President is probably the quickest. But, Martin Sheen, you got to use Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
You always got to talk about Apocalypse Now when you get an opportunity. Lawrence Fishburne is probably...
You like Apocalypse Now?
I love Apocalypse Now. The funny thing, it's not even funny, and I think a lot of people are like this. I like the documentary better than the film itself.
Was it Heart of Darkness?
Heart of Darkness, yeah. But Derville Martin is in Dolomite.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just going to make this. In Dolomite with Rudy Ray Moore. Rudy Ray Moore is in The Monkey Hustle with
Yaphet?
No, not Yaphet. What's her name?
Monkey.
We were just talking about Uptown Saturday Night too.
That's not Roseanne, is it? No. Roseanne Cash.
No, not Roseanne Cash.
What are we talking about? Monkey Hustle.
Looking right at her.
Monkey Hustle. Yes.
No, not is it Roseanne?
Yeah, Rosalind Cash.
Rosalind Cash, right. Rosalind Cash. Rosalind Cash is in oh my God, what's the Mom's Mabley movie?
It's in, I see the poster. I see the poster with her on it. I gotta go to Mom's Mabley movie.
Amazing Grace.
Thank you.
Is in Amazing Grace with Butterfly McQueen.
Mm-hmm.
Butterfly McQueen is in Gone with the Wind with Vivian Leigh.
Oh boy.
Vivian Leigh is in A Streetcar Named Desire with Marlon Brando. That's Vivian Leigh, isn't it? Isn't that Vivian Leigh in A Streetcar Named Desire? Who plays Blanche?
I wanna see.
Pretty sure that's Vivian Leigh.
Hold on. I could be wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I only know Vivian Leigh for 2 movies.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Marlon Brando is, of course, in Apocalypse Now with Martin Sheen.
Very good.
There you go.
All right. You did it, Vince.
Yeah. How do you feel about Apocalypse Now?
I like the documentary.
Mm-hmm. Love the documentary.
I don't know if I get the movie.
What do you mean by you don't get it?
I guess it just doesn't get me. I get bored while I'm watching the movie.
It's long.
Yeah. And I guess
It's long, and I can see how. The funny thing about Apocalypse Now is that most of what holds your attention, Oliver Stone and other, all those filmmakers who in his wake, what's his name that did Full Metal Jacket?
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick, and all of them kind of took a lot of what kind of holds you in Apocalypse Now and kind of made it sexier almost.
Well, I think they did it a little better.
I mean, better is, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can see that. I can see it. When was the last time you watched it?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah, and now I did enjoy the documentary.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the documentary, but the other thing is watching the documentary and then trying to watch the movie. Now Marlon Brando's just getting the hell on my nerves.
Okay.
Because he's just such a jerk off.
Yeah, but he's so good in Apocalypse Now. Because what I was going to say is I actually sit through Apocalypse Now to get to him.
I mean, that's a long sit.
It's a long sit, but I think it's worth it. But all right, who's our next Martin?
All right, next Martin, Vincent.
Next Martin.
In 6 films or less, connect Derville Martin to Martin Short.
Martin Short. We were just talking about Martin Short because we were talking about Bowfinger. talking about being cute, you get to Martin Short.
He's not in Bowfinger.
No. I'm sorry, but Steve Martin is. And
Okay.
when I think about Martin Short, like most of the stuff I think about him in, he's with Steve Martin, which, you know, Dick Anthony Williams is in The Jerk, so it gets to him immediately. But can I get to Martin Short with my favorite Martin Short movie?
Oh, I'm curious. What is your favorite Martin Short movie?
All right, let me get out real fast. So Derville Martin is in 5 on the Black Hand Side with Dick Anthony Williams. Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Samuel Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Samuel Jackson is in Jackie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone to Pam Grier way, but she's in Jackie Brown with Robert De Niro, who's in Midnight Run with Charles Grodin.
Okay.
And Charles Grodin is in Clifford with Martin Short.
Clifford?
Oh, you don't know Clifford?
I mean, I know what Clifford is, but
You've never seen Clifford?
no, I've never seen Clifford.
It's the most bizarre film. Martin Short plays a little boy. Right. Y'all didn't hear Dylan laugh off, but that's sort of the hook.
Oh, that's not even what I'm thinking Clifford is.
No, not Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's Clifford the Big Red Dog. Like, he was in that.
No, the movie where Martin Short plays the little boy who destroys
I see.
Charles Grodin's life.
Story of a 10-year-old boy who stays with his uncle while his parents are at a business trip in Honolulu.
It is the most bizarre film because it's kind of like Cable Guy, where like it's supposed to be funny, but it ends up being so mean-spirited that it's like,
Yeah, it says it's a black comedy.
yeah, it's funny. We were talking about black films that people champion and things like Clifford has this sort of cult following now, and I'm part of the cult.
Really?
It is the darkest film because this kid is basically a terrorist, but he's played by Martin Short.
Yeah,
and it's so bizarre. And the whole special effects is basically Martin Short on his knees with this weird wig on.
Yeah, I see it. It's a disturbing little.
I don't know if I'm recommending it because it really is like blue cheese or one of those, my wife calls them like cave cheeses, like one of those kind of really intense cheeses that like if you like it, you love it, but you understand why people hate it. Oh, I love Clifford.
Interesting.
And you know, it's Charles Grodin. So, you know, Charles Grodin just anyway, like it is pitch
I love myself
black.
some Charles Grodin.
It is pitch black comedy.
Hey, all
But
right.
yeah, Martin Short and Clifford.
I'll have to check this out. I have to check. I'm not aware of that movie. I'm thinking about the Big Red Dog, which I could see. To be fair, I could see Martin Short being in the Big Red Dog.
I want you to like Clifford, but let's be clear. I don't know if you'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want you to watch it.
What's a comp?
I don't know what that means.
What's a movie that you would compare it to? Like in
Cable
tone?
Guy.
I like Cable Guy.
It's darker than Cable Guy, but yeah, but it's the same. It's that same vein.
Okay.
It's like if Pee-wee's Big Adventure had a baby with Cable Guy, it would be this.
It would be Clifford.
It would be Clifford
I will
because
pop a
it's
10-year-old boy.
so bizarre.
Okay.
But then it's also pitch black.
All right. I'm gonna look it up.
All right, yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's around. It's around. And like once you look it up, you know, it's sort of like you buy a blue car and then you realize everybody has all these blue cars. Like if you look it up, like someone wrote a long essay on it a couple of years ago for like Vulture.
Really? About this movie, Clifford?
It really
With
is.
Martin Short and Charles
It
Grodin.
really is this cult classic.
Okay.
But yeah, Martin Short's and Clifford. It's my favorite Martin Short movie.
Can't say I have no. My favorite Martin Short movie is
Three Amigos,
Three Amigos. Love Three Amigos.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
He's not in Dirty.
On Dirty Rotten
Steve
Scoundrels.
Martin and Michael Caine.
Why did I think Martin Short was in that?
If he is, I don't remember him.
Okay.
Maybe he's in a
All right.
short role, but
right.
he's not
Okay.
like the star.
I like the Father of the Bride movies.
You know what? I actually tried to watch them
Mm-hmm.
maybe during the pandemic.
Don't age well.
Not for me.
I can see that.
Not for me. And it's not for not wanting to love. I love Steve Martin.
And I know you like the original one better.
No, I don't like the original one.
Really?
I don't like the original. Not every. First of all, I don't like all black and white movies.
I just figure you like all them old segregation movies.
Well, okay.
That is a minute. I got your drink. I thought it was
No.
that you just loved.
First of all, that's not in The Father of the Bride.
I just
the
assumed
original.
Rochester was in all them old movies.
Right, Rochester's not in all of those old movies. And I was a fan of Eddie
Is that
Murphy.
Jack Benny, though, in the original?
No.
Who's in the original?
Spencer Tracy.
Spencer Tracy.
And Elizabeth Taylor.
Elizabeth, it's not a dude. Hey, Mr. Tracy, I got your drink.
No.
It's nobody. It's not a black.
No.
Hey, Mr. Tracy, I got your drink.
No.
Nobody is.
No.
Come on over here, girl. Let me dress you.
Are you finished?
It's not like a black maid or nothing in it. It's...
Now there is a black man.
See?
And to your point.
And I would watch it and shake my head and say, that's a damn shame.
Well,
It's work at the post office.
Well, to your point.
See?
To your point. When trying to watch that, because that's what happened. It came on,
Mm-hmm.
the original,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Oh!" And I'm sure I had seen it.
Mhm.
But I was like, it's certainly been a minute.
Sure.
Let me turn it on.
Right. It's an
Turn it
old time
on.
movie. I'm Lynn. I like this stuff.
I'm watching it, and the daughter comes out and she's talking about she invited her boyfriend over for dinner or whatever.
Sure.
And mom's like, "Oh, well, I guess we'll make it work." Oh, Beulah. And Beulah
You come, what you need, ma'am?
comes out. It's like,
Mhm.
we're going to have, I think, one more plate for dinner.
Oh, I sure don't know if it's enough pork chops if somebody knew. Was that?
She didn't say that.
I sure don't know if it's enough
She
pork chops.
did not say,
for
I
extra
sure
guests."
don't know.
If it's enough pork chops for extra
They
guests.
don't eat pork chops. They didn't eat pork chops. I think it was chicken. But
I sure don't know if it's enough chicken because I snuck a piece. Was that the line? Was that the line? I sure don't know if it's enough chicken because I snuck a piece. Was that the line?
That wasn't the line.
Okay, all right, just
But something about the way Beulah
you look.
came out, I don't remember her name,
Right.
but came out
Mm-hmm.
and just said, mm-hmm, and then like turned around.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't watch
And she
this.
was like muttering under her breath.
I-
These white folks is just inviting folks in here for extra chicken. Ain't no extra chicken. Whoever heard of extra chicken? It's always just enough chicken or not enough chicken. You never know extra chicken. Was that the line? Was that the line delivery? Like under her breath?
that may have been the subtext.
That made the
It may have been the
It's a-
subtext. But I believe she said something like, mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But I immediately turned it off. I said, I can't watch this. I can't.
We've had a black president.
I can't.
I don't have to do this.
I couldn't watch it. But then, so I said, well, let me try watching the remake.
Right. I feel like, did we talk about this?
I don't remember.
All right, go ahead.
So I turned
It's
on
a
the
glitch in the Matrix.
So I turned on the remake,
Uh-huh.
but and there's no black maid in there.
Right.
But then it's just all this white privilege.
So you kind of missed the black maid?
And I was like,
You missed the black? Did you miss the black
no, I
maid?
didn't miss the black maid.
Okay.
But the white privilege got on my nerves.
Right. There's plenty of chicken to go around.
I can't watch
You
this.
can't watch this either.
I stopped. I think I turned on Scarface.
As one does. All right.
And now it's time for our review of Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. Ooh.
Ready? Oh, wait. Are we waiting for...
No, we don't have to
Yeah,
wait for
just
anything.
going. All right.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, a 2008 comedy starring Martin Lawrence as Roscoe Jenkins. As a child, R.J. Stevens was the awkward brunt of numerous jokes. Now, R.J. is a successful talk show host who dispenses advice and encouragement to millions. When his parents ask him to come home for their anniversary, R.J. vows to show everyone how much he has changed. Unfortunately, R.J.'s plans are no match for his Southern relatives. Headlined by Martin Lawrence, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins also has a stellar cast, including Monique, Cedric the Entertainer, Mike Epps, Michael Clark Duncan, Joy Bryant, James Earl Jones, and Margaret Avery. Directed and written by Malcolm Lee, this 2008 film was the choice of Lynn Webb.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn, how would you like to begin our conversation around Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins?
Well, we've been doing the films of Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence this
Mhm.
month. And we were in the year of 1999 for the first couple of weeks when we reviewed Bowfinger and Blue Streak.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're ending in 2008, a little bit further down the line on their filmographies in their careers with Meet Dave and Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. At this point in Martin Lawrence's career, in 2008, he's still a viable star, but his star has lost a little bit of his luster, right? And he hasn't been, the lead on as many, hit movies or movies in general at this time. We talked about earlier in the show that he suffered a bit of a personal setback
Mm-hmm.
in and around this time that he was dealing with. This marks a rare opportunity for Martin, though, not only to see his name above the title, but be part of an ensemble,
Mm-hmm.
a decided ensemble when you look at the likes of his comedy brethren that are in this film. Monique, Michael Epps, Cedric the Entertainer,
Mm-hmm.
alongside the actors of James Earl Jones, Margaret Avery, Nicole Ari Parker,
Mhm.
Michael Clark Duncan. So now Martin Lawrence doesn't have to carry the ball all by himself
Mm-hmm.
in the film. Martin Lawrence can actually kind of sit back and, be the fulcrum upon which everything turns in a film for
Mhm.
really the first time with such a such a noteworthy cast of actors around him,
Mm-hmm.
actors and performers. And that is a welcome sight for a lot of people who, like our letter writer earlier, and myself, maybe grown a little bit tired of the Martin Lawrence shtick.
Right.
That he would, his bag of tricks that he would go to in almost every movie.
Mm-hmm.
So now he gets to play that down in this movie where it sees him as, this star of this talk show, like you you said. And because he's a star of a talk show, he finds his way to being in a relationship with Joy Bryant's character, Bianca, who was a winner of Survivor Series.
Mhm.
So now these two celebrities are in orbit of one another and about to get married. Martin Lawrence's character, R.J. Stevens, or Roscoe Jenkins Stevens, or has a son that he is raising on his own, who longs for more time with his superstar father, so much so that he more or less books them to go down to their family reunion because he wants to see his family, and he's seeing this way of orchestrating time to be alone with his father. And Martin Lawrence's character, Roscoe, reluctantly agrees to go down because he has been 9 years away from his family.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn is because of some misgivings in regards to the way that his father raised him
Mm-hmm.
alongside his cousin, played by Cedric the Entertainer, who came in to move with them after his parents died
Right.
in an accident. Going back home means that you're going to meet all of your wacky cousins and family. Mike Epps as the wacky crazy cousin is right in his bag.
Yeah.
Monique as the gives no F's sister,
Mm-hmm.
who also has a special penchant for prisoners and conjugal visits.
Yes.
Then there's Michael Clark Duncan, who is the over muscled big brother.
Yeah.
Who has a over muscled clan of himself, of his own, and his wife and his two children. And then you have their parents, all of these family, the matriarchs, the matriarch and patriarch are the family, James Earl Jones, Roscoe Jenkins Sr., and Margaret Avery
Mm-hmm.
as his beloved wife. And that, along with a whole assortment of characters, they all descend upon this huge home where they're going to have this huge 3-4 day family reunion. It's the family reunion of your dreams, ladies and gentlemen. I've never been to a family reunion like this. I've always wanted to go to a family
What, like a multi-day one, really?
No, yeah, I've never been to a multi-day.
That's too bad.
Oh, maybe it's because we only went down for the day.
Maybe. Did you get your T-shirts though?
Yes, well, we went down for the day.
All right, as long as you got your T-shirt.
You got to get your
Gotta
T-shirt.
get your T-shirt.
Got to
All
get
right.
your T-shirts.
All right.
We only went down for the day, and that
All
was
right.
it. And it was
All right.
So you see the setup.
Yeah.
You see the setup. This is familiar territory
Mm-hmm.
that the writer director Malcolm D. Lee is setting us up for.
Sure.
Right. This is familiar territory for comedy, and true to form, all of the beats that you are expected
Mm-hmm.
are hit.
Yes.
Monique does not vibe well with Bianca, the girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
or fiance.
Yes.
They do not get along. She keeps calling her a Bioyo, a Blanca, Biacanca,
Yes.
like everything but her government.
Yes.
Right. Mom misses her son, and just wish he would come home more. There's a tension between Roscoe, the two Roscoes, Jr. and Sr.
Mm-hmm.
The son, the son, he doesn't get enough time, so he's like, Dad, I want to be with you, Dad. I want to be with you. The cousin, played by Cedric the Entertainer, they have a huge rivalry that stems back from their childhood,
Mm-hmm.
where Cedric would beat Roscoe at every game possible, including time with the girl that they all wanted, played by Nicole Ari Parker,
Yeah.
who, of course, now is hanging with Cedric the Entertainer, because we're
She
not
calls
led
him
to
a
believe.
familiar face.
Right, it's a familiar face, and
Mhm.
sure, I'd love to go see your family. I
Sure.
love them as well. So all the beats are a hit. Some of them, you even have the beats of, the family dog is this huge Labrador retriever.
Mhm.
And of course, Bianca has a toy dog, and
You know where that's going.
you know where that's
immediately.
going.
Yeah.
And it goes there
Yeah.
4 times
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah.
So everything that you're expecting to be hit is hit.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're really looking for is just, okay, if you're not going to give us any type of twist, then at least be funny when you hit these familiar beats.
Yes.
And your mileage may vary, ladies and gentlemen, but for me,
Mm-hmm.
I did not find very much of this film funny at all.
Oh.
In fact, the only parts of this movie that I found remotely funny is because you've got comedians, is because you got quick-witted comedians such as Monique and Mike Epps.
Yes.
There are scenes where it is quite evident
Yeah.
that they are improving,
Yeah.
and Michael D. Lee just let the camera go and just let them riff.
Yeah.
And more often than not is when scenes where the two of them are with each other,
Yeah.
that they're just riffing back and forth. You can literally see Monique trying to stifle laughing while she's delivering her lines. Those moments are funny, but those moments are few and far between in this film for me. Martin Lawrence as the lead supposed to be kind of like that fulcrum.
Yeah.
And this is the opportunity for Martin Lawrence to really get his Eddie Murphy on. Eddie Murphy, who we know can be the life of the party and can definitely lead this film in his sleep. But like we talked about in Coming to America, and like we talked about in Boomerang, when Eddie Murphy has to kind of like dial it back and just kind of like maybe be the straight man for a minute, he can do it. And he can do it well. Martin Lawrence cannot be a straight man. He can never be a straight man. He reminds me to that degree of Flip Wilson.
Interesting.
Flip Wilson, and I liked Flip Wilson.
Sure.
But there's a reason why Flip Wilson never became like a super movie star. And there's a reason why, as good as his show was, because it was a number 1 show back in the 70s, it doesn't, register as this heralded moment in sketch time because Flip Wilson could never be the straight man. Never. And Martin Lawrence can never be the straight man. It just doesn't play. To be fair, though, he's not helped by the very pedestrian script that Malcolm D. Lee has written. This script sounds like a first pass. Like I could almost, except for the moments where Monique and Mike Epps are riffing, you could almost see every joke coming to the degree that you knew the exact line that was going to be said. Like she's so fat because she's fat. Like it was that obvious type of jokes that were being set up in this movie. And because of that script not helping, now most of the comedians, they've gotten maybe a little bit of riffing. Cedric gets some riffing in. Mike Epps, I think Mike Epps rewrote his whole dialogue.
Yeah.
And because he is mostly funny in the movie, right? He says one funny line that I had to write. Oh, talking to Bianca, who's like, like this real like made up chick with the very Hollywoodish, even though she's just a person who won Survivor.
Sure.
But she's gone full Hollywood. And Mike kept said heard something when they getting into it. Like, girl, I'd smack the cover girl off your face. I laughed at that line.
Right.
I did laugh at that line. But nothing else I laughed at. And despite the fact that Malcolm D. Lee made sure that every scene where there was supposed to be where he wanted there to be a laugh, you were told that not by the script, but by a music stinger that was playing in there that kind of lets you know,
Right. This is where you laugh.
This is where you laugh, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work for me. James Earl Jones, Margaret Avery are given pretty much nothing to do in this movie.
Sure.
And if you look at James Earl Jones and Margaret Avery in this film, written and directed by a black man, which means that I would expect that possibly the casting, he had a hand in the casting.
Sure.
There is no chromosome in the world where James Earl Jones and Margaret Avery give birth to Michael Clark Duncan, Monique, and Martin Lawrence. That math don't math at all. Michael Clark Duncan, he's cast right for it because he's supposed to be this big muscular role.
Yes.
But it's the role that was built for Terry Crews, not Michael Clark Duncan. Because while he's not given much comedy to do, what comedy he is given to do, he doesn't get over. Because that's just not his strong suit. It's just not his strong suit. Cedric the Entertainer, he's another guy whose shtick never, I just wears thin on me, and it wore thin on me in this film. So at the end of the day, I know that there are people that enjoy Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not one of them.
Sure. I am. I'm going to say I really enjoyed this film.
Okay.
I think I'll start where you and I agree. I think the real strength of this film is these three chaotic elements that kind of bounce through, and that would be Mike Epps, Monique, and Cedric the Entertainer. Now, I 100% agree with you that not only were Mike Epps and Monique riffing and trying to, I think by the end, the two of them were actually trying to make each other break.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a moment towards the end where I don't think Malcolm Lee does any great direction, but I think the way he plays cat and mouse with
I know exactly
these
what
two
you're talking about. Yep.
trying not to catch them laughing was great. Cedric the Entertainer, here's what I like about this Cedric the Entertainer role. I think that there's always a bit of subversion in the Cedric the Entertainer kind of charming, kind of, said he said. There's very much a girl, where's my hug energy to Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of his persona. And that runs throughout this film. Right under the surface, there's something a little skeevy, and it's not sharp at all, but I do think it's in the script that he is on unsettled ground because of his parents' death. So,
oh my.
So I actually liked
That's a bit
Cedric.
I'm sure it go ahead.
I don't think it is at all. It's right there. They actually say it in the script.
Okay.
So, I agree with you. Margaret Avery, James Earl Jones might as well have, they had to get some old black people to put in there. And, God knows I love Malcolm Lee, but they're you can tell oftentimes there are aspects of Malcolm Lee's films where he gets access to certain actors and certain attributes that I feel like people's managers didn't tell them that this is Malcolm Lee, not Spike Lee. They think it's his cousin. And they end up here. And again, I like Malcolm Lee. But there are, you look at, films like this or Undercover Brother, and it's how did Malcolm Lee get fill in the blank? It's somebody thought it was.
They just heard Lee.
Yeah. I think Joy Bryant is a good sport throughout this film.
Good sport.
She's a good sport. I'm a big fan of Joy Bryant
Me too.
generally. I can't think off the top of my head opportunities where Joy Bryant got to be a little funny, got to be stretched a little bit. It's funny you're talking about people in different roles.
Mm-hmm.
This, I'm just, I guess I'm just going to keep bringing her up even when she's not in the movie. And you know what I'm about to say? This felt like a Gabrielle Union role, which this is the role Gabrielle Union played in Top 5, where she plays this exact same role. Martin Lawrence, I think Martin Lawrence seems tired in this role. Like I think his energy was low.
Okay.
In this role. But the irony is low energy Martin is just enough Martin for me.
Okay.
Like I agree, hanging this on him, I think is not something that came naturally. But low energy Martin, you know, it kind of worked for me. And when you do have there are one or two moments where he goes broad. Like one of the ongoing plot points is that he and his cousin, played by Cedric the Entertainer, had this race when they were young men.
Yeah.
And they recreate the race. And it's manic and it's broad. But this is a moment that's supposed to be manic and broad. And I liked he and Cedric together in that moment. To a certain degree, the two of them have a fist fight that breaks out over a dice game that I thought, talking about moments where I thought the direction lacked, it went too long. Like the scene went too long, which if I do have a critique of Malcolm Lee's direction, that is my general critique. Things went too long.
They go too long. Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason on earth this film should have been almost 2 hours.
Nope.
Like there's really just not enough story in there. I also agree that this is a Terry Crews role that Michael Clarke Duncan is in. But I think Michael Clarke Duncan is funny. Michael Clarke Duncan is part of, without hyperbole, one of the funniest moments I've ever seen in my life in Anchorman. No, in Talladega Nights.
Okay.
So I actually liked big Michael Clarke Duncan.
I'm not saying he's not funny.
And to bring in Mike Epps. You're talking about Mike Epps and Monique. Mike Epps and Michael Clarke Duncan was funny to me, where he kind of makes fun of Michael Clarke Duncan, and he makes fun of his voice and his physicality. And, I thought you was Uncle Ben. Like, Nicole Ari Parker might as well, we needed somebody pretty.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I like Nicole Ari Parker. And you're right. You know exactly what this film is going to do there's never a moment that surprises you. But I don't know. I kind of gave into it. I gave into the spirit of it. God knows, between Mike Epps, Monique, and I, like I said, I enjoyed Cedric. Between the three of them, it was enough to get me through. It's a family movie. Like, as you said, we've seen at least 4 or 5 versions of this, including, Johnson Family Vacation, which is another version of this with Cedric the Entertainer. I think this is better than that.
Well, yeah.
I liked it.
Here's the other thing that this film did for me that was unforgivable.
Okay.
And even though it is a beat that you see coming, and that is, I mentioned how there is the tension between Roscoe and his son. His son doesn't feel that he's connecting with his father, not spending time with his father. So in the midst of this big, recreation of the obstacle course and the race between the two cousins, all the kids, everybody else is still part of the race as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a moment where it gets to the wall, because this is literally like an obstacle course, and they've got to climb up the wall, and Roscoe's son can't make it.
Right.
And he's calling out to like, Dad, can you help me? And Roscoe gets down to help his son, but then he is chided by Cedric's character and lets his son drop.
Yes.
And continues on his own and goes on to win the race.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everybody gets on him about what he did to his son.
Yeah.
At the end, it is a heartbreaking moment in this film. But, and to be fair, perhaps as I watched every inch of this movie, I missed it. This movie does not give a moment where he addresses that moment with his son.
No, it doesn't.
It gives a little bit of a hero moment at the end. Spoiler for a 16-year-old movie.
That the plot immediately.
The plot immediately. Yeah, like when he breaks up with Bianca. Yeah. And the son is like, yeah, step. You know what I mean? So there's that little moment, but there's no moment as they go back to the family reunion, as he says all of these kind words to everybody else in his family. And as we knew from the beginning, gets his dance with Nicole Ari Parker. There is at no moment where you see him address what he did with his son. And the reason why that is unforgivable to me is because the movie really starts off, the first tension is between him and his son. Yeah. That's how the movie leads. Yeah. So if nothing else, you're thinking that the movie is going to be, there should be a through line at least about that. Sure. And while it is touched on, it is for most parts of the movie totally forgotten.
I was about to say, I think you're talking about this being a first or second draft. If there was a third or fourth draft, one of the changes I would have made
is to drop that storyline.
Is to drop the son completely.
Right.
Like the whole subplot, it's not even a subplot. The whole plot detail with the son is so unnecessary. Like there's plenty of story to explore without the son.
I know.
That to your point, you're talking about that's an unforgivable moment with the son. I think the entire film, the way it treats the son.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. You totally forget about him.
Right.
Or he just becomes like this also, like, go with your cousins, Right. And they don't really pay.
Even that isn't developed.
Not at all.
Like if the film is championing family and you got to come and be film, like you think there's going to be some payoff where the cousins now are a unit. That never happens.
Never happened.
Yeah, I think the son is the weakest part of the whole film.
Right.
Yeah.
Through no fault of the son it's own. It's just a failure of the writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, the reason why I don't forgive it is because, like I said, it's the first real setup that you have in the film. Yeah. And it's the impetus for him going down to the reunion.
But even that, just to continue down that, as you said, it's the first real setup, but it's told. It's not shown.
Right. That is true.
Like you never actually like there's this whole little bit about the son has this relationship
with the grandfather,
with his grandfather, played by James Earl Jones, that you never really see.
Yeah, you just see, hey, I'm going to go play catch with my grandson.
Even when Roscoe is guilted to go down there, the guilt is only tangentially connected to the son.
I know.
Like there's more urgency to the fact that he sent home this expensive television
That hasn't been touched.
That hasn't been touched more so than the son.
I know.
Yeah, so I agree with you, but I'd actually pull back and say what's unforgivable is the way that the son is treated in this script.
But that still doesn't color your enjoyment of the film.
Well, because frankly, the son is forgettable.
Well,
Like there's not a scene in here with his son that stuck with me as I'm talking about it. Like as you said, you know, he doesn't help his son over, and it's a real heartbreaking and kind of nasty moment.
yeah.
But this isn't that film that, you know, speaking of something like Clifford, where you know it has this kind of beautiful nastiness to it. Like, you know, this isn't like the film that really is going to utilize that beat. Roscoe ends up married to Joy Bryant. And, you know, maybe there's him kind of, you know, a look of regret if it's a better actor than Martin Lawrence.
Right.
But, you know, it's not this film. I mean, hell, I feel like the force of the plot pushed him together with Nicole Ari Parker's character, because she has a nice little moment where she talks about what she thought her life was going to be and what it ended up being, you know, student loans and I don't even want kids, where there's a hint that this character is going to be a character.
Right.
And not just a MacGuffin that these two men, Cedric the Entertainer and Martin Lawrence's character, are fighting over.
Right.
And every now and then they give you a hint that
there's something more.
And that she's aware that these two are basically, they say it in the film, having a dick measuring contest using her as the prize. Like you kind of hope that the film ends with her saying, I'm not an object to be fought over. I don't want to be with either one of you. But it's not that film.
No, not at all.
It's not that film, and
which is fair if it doesn't want to be the film.
Which is fair if it doesn't.
But then you've got to be better. The film that you are, you got to do it better.
And you can't pretend
to be something else.
To try, like you can't make these gestures towards something else. But yeah, I do. I think the pros outweigh the cons. I think even when the film went off, I thought the pros outweighed the cons, and then I laughed throughout the entire credits.
Oh, okay. Yes.
There's a bit where Roscoe brings his family to his talk show.
And now he's interviewing them.
Including Michael Clark Duncan.
Yes.
Michael Clark Duncan, Monique, and Mike Epps. I watched the credits until they went off, hoping that something would come back on with one of them, so that, you know, in a lot of ways, the end credits were like the frosting on top. That, you know, I was already like, you know, I like this, and then, you know, them. So yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. I think this is, well, you go talking about a fairly low bar. This is my favorite Martin Lawrence film.
Oh, it's not my favorite Martin Lawrence.
What do you like better than this?
Life.
Life is not a Martin Lawrence film.
Well, he's in it.
I mean, he's in a lot of movies.
Okay, but to be fair.
I mean, in that case, Do the Right Thing is my favorite Martin Lawrence film.
Is this a Martin Lawrence film or is it an ensemble?
I think his name is above the title. I think he is the first among equals.
To be fair, let's look at the poster.
I mean, if you look at the posters, you look at the trailer, this is a Martin Lawrence film.
Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. His name is above the title.
Yeah, this is a Martin Lawrence film.
Okay.
Now, it's a backhanded compliment that my favorite Martin Lawrence film is damn near an ensemble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an ensemble.
Yeah.
But okay, fair enough. Well,
but the question is, would you recommend Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins?
Ugh.
Hey, don't feel peer pressured. Say it with your chest.
Because there's a part of me that wants to say, like, this is the great cookout movie. Someone in the kitchen while everybody's cooking and everybody's, you catch something funny. Monique says something stupid. Mike Epps says something crazy. You know what I mean? He comes out in this cowboy outfit. And, you're laughing. So there's a part of me that wants to say that. I really, really do.
You don't have to.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't recommend Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. I won't be mad if you watch it.
Okay.
God bless, but I won't recommend that you do.
Sure.
But go ahead if you want to.
Right. I recommend it.
Well, of course.
I recommend it. I think I'm not going to say this is my favorite Mike Epps performance, but Mike Epps, the comedian, this might be in my top 3 Mike Epps performances. Like, I like Mike Epps better in this than I do either of the Friday sequels, which is probably his most high profile comedic performance. I really like Monique in this. I
I wanna.
Yeah.
Just trying. Trying very hard.
She is. And she's the closest to the cast in my mind that is over the top. But it like she works for me.
See, Joy Bryant works for me in the movie.
I really like Joy Bryant. And I liked Martin. You know what it is? I got Martin Lawrence in this film. Like them saying that Martin Lawrence was this kind of Dr. Phil-esque
Steve Harvey
talk show host rang true to me. Like, I saw Roscoe Jenkins as someone who was actually charismatic. Like, one thing that I, along those lines at the end, of course he comes and he makes amends and he kind of gives a speech. But I like the fact that when he gave his speech, the scene was shot like it was him on his talk show.
Yeah, because now he was in his element.
He was in his element. He was very comfortable. And again, I believed it.
Okay.
I believed it. And oftentimes I have not believed Martin Lawrence as the fill in the blank in this film. We just mentioned top 5. I've never believed Chris Rock in any role that he's in, that he's not Chris Rock.
When he's the lead.
So that was, I liked Martin Lawrence. I thought he was, whether it's low energy, whether it was him just getting a little older, it was refreshing to see Martin Lawrence in a space where he wasn't trying to out-mug, outlandishy, out-Martin everyone, which, as we've talked about, it does not happen that often in his film career when he is out front. He's all, I think the thing about Life and Bad Boys, frankly, I think he defers to Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And I think with Will Smith in the Bad Boys films, they are equal, but they're in different lanes.
Yes.
So that works. But besides that, this is the only film that I can think of with him, with other comedians. That we talked about it in Blue Streak. The best part of Blue Streak are the moments with him and Dave Chappelle.
That's right.
Where, as you said, they match energy. So, yeah, I do. I recommend Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
It's interesting that in those 2 movies, well, the Bad Boy series and in Life, those are the films where he, like you said, in a different lane as his co-star by on purpose. He is a little bit more dialed down, not as mugging, and actually creating a character.
Right.
And I think there was the missed opportunity of this film is that you hit on it when he is at the end addressing them at the family reunion. He's got the mic and he's in his element. He's in his world, and he's doing the thing where he found that he can be the winner,
right,
the man. Right?
And if the script was sharper,
it would have played on that.
Yes.
Because that, especially as a talk show host, because that's a lot of talk show hosts. Off the mic, their personality it's non-existent, or it's something totally different. You know what I mean? And I think it could have played with that. That calls for 2, 3, 4 more passes on the script.
Yes.
And it could still be a comedy. It could still be set in this world. This world would be the perfect setting to examine that type of thing.
Sure.
And thus, like you said, getting rid of the son gives you the space.
Opens up some space.
To really get there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, missed opportunity with Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
Right.
But if you want to talk about opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, wait till you hear what Vince cooked up for next week and all month long during Black History Month here on the Micheaux Mission.
That's right.
Before we get to that, I invite you, if you got any feedback to our review of Roscoe Jenkins or anything that you want to get off your chest, write us an email. Email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. You can also follow the Micheaux Mission on the social media of your choice, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or X at Micheaux Mission. And if you want to check out the show live, you can subscribe to YouTube at Micheaux Mission, where we will let you know when we're going live every Tuesday at 7 p.m., streaming live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. Hit up our boy Dylan at YUNKJunk.com. That's DYLAN at YUNKJunk.com to book your time in one of the fabulous studios that they have here in Manayunk, PA. There are studios all over, and I'm telling you, you need to hook up Dylan. If you've been sitting there on your hands like, yeah, I got to call Dylan so I can book my time. Hurry up. Because we just did an update with Dylan. I think they got something like about 10 or 20 shows that are going in and out of here at YUNKJunk at this time. And, they're doing their best, Vincent, to keep people off our sets. I'm just letting you know. They're slowly running out of room, but Dylan is like, he's like, no, we can't have this. It looks so nice. No.
Dylan's holding the line.
He's holding the line. He's hold the door. That's what he do. That's what he do. That's our Dylan. But trust me, the other studios are Dylan at YUNKJunk.com. The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcasts work such as ours. All right. Next week, we kick off not only Black History Month, but we begin the road to 400.
Does this begin the march in February?
It begins in February. The march begins in February.
Pick something different if I knew the march was
start. No. I wanted you to be in your right, sane mind when you developed this theme.
Yeah.
For Black History Month.
Black History Month.
Our theme for Black History Month, usually we do Westerns.
Usually do Westerns.
Every once in a while, we've dipped into the world of romance. But no.
No.
Not this year. Not on the road to 400, baby.
Not the road to 400.
Because we're going to give you something totally different.
We're going to stretch a little bit.
We're going to stretch. Because for the Black History Month, we are asking a question. What is a black film?
Right. For Black History Month, we are going to examine the parameters of black.
Exactly.
What are the boundaries? Where are we at? We're going to examine the walls.
Yes. We're going to lean on those walls.
Right.
starting next week with 1990s King of New York,
King of New York.
starring Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. I can't even get it out.
Yeah.
Is the star
Is the star.
of King of New
He's
York
very much the star.
in every scene.
He's in every scene, but it's also every single solitary black actor who was working in New York.
True.
What year was this?
1990.
In 1990. So they went and just got the entire cast of School Days,
Yes.
the entire cast of what else, of like The Color Purple, like
Boys in the Hood.
right. So it's Christopher Walken and every single solitary black actor in New York.
Standing behind him.
Be standing behind him
in King of New York.
because he is the said king.
He is the King of New York.
Yes.
As we kick off, what is a black film?
What did we?
Or Black History Month.
As we talk about people, is this a black
Is
film?
this a black film?
Well, we go ask, and we gonna start with the King of New York.
It's just getting started. Next week, here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, I'm Len. He's Vincent, and in parting, we say,
We'll see you when it's time to meet again.
YUNKJunk!